We all have that playlist. We all have that station. It just makes us smile. So once you make your very important decision, I want what music you're choosing. You're just going to come to a seat on your mat. And if you naturally cross your left leg in front of your right, you're just going to switch it up this morning and do the opposite. And then just rest your hands wherever is comfortable for you. And then just take a moment to soften your gaze. Or shift gaze close. And sometimes I don't so much talk about shifting gaze close in the morning because we're just all waking up. So find what's speaking to you. Definitely now with the sun coming up just a little bit earlier, I'm more of an eyes wide open. And I feel the warmth of the spring just getting a little bit closer. It was lovely to conclude my day with a lovely just walk through the neighborhood and just embracing a beautiful sunset. I didn't have like 5,000 layers on to stay warm. And then came home for a little gentle practice. And really thought about the sort of awakening of the day, the starting of my day with bringing a little warmth to my system, a warmth to the space. So I just want you to roll your shoulders up into your ears and release them down your backside. And shoulders into your ears and release it down your backside. And then you're just going to drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. And maybe keep your gaze straight forward. Maybe tuck your chin towards your chest. Or maybe rotate your gaze up towards sky. And start to awaken the warmth within you. Coming into some mindful breathing this morning. Feeling the rise and fall of your chest. Feel expansion through your rib cage. Really engaging in full breath. You're going to rotate and drop your chin towards your chest. Your head comes straight forward. Maybe getting a little release to the back of your neck and into your shoulders. And then you'll start to lower your right ear towards your right shoulder. Just see how this is speaking to you this morning. Again, maybe shifting gaze. Sort of awaken through the neck. And see what your body's calling for. So interesting that we've been on this journey of at least having this one moment where we sort of start our day by bringing attention to ourselves. I know for me, It's certainly not how I start my day. My attention is on all others. Things I need to do for work, for my dog, to get to work, and all of those things. These Wednesdays have been this blissful moment of tending to myself first. You're going to bring your head back up into center. Roll your shoulders into your ears, release them down your backside. And it's just been so interesting when we draw attention to ourselves first, how different our day goes. You're going to bring your hands to your knees, rotate your palms down to your knees. We're going to take some seated cat-cows this morning. So you're going to hug navel in towards spine, rolling your shoulders forward. And then roll your shoulders back, gentle lift of heart, gentle lift of chin. And then hug navel in towards spine, rolling shoulders forward. And then rolling shoulders back, gentle lift of heart, lift of chin, lift of gaze. You're just going to go through these two spaces. Bring some movement into the back side of your body. And awakening into the space. I'm going to take a few more rounds here. And then after your last round, you're going to draw yourself back into center. And you're going to extend your right foot out to the diagonal of your mat. So it's not straight forward, but out to the side. And you're going to keep your left foot tucked in. You're going to rotate your heart to point towards your right toes. And then just take a gentle fold. You're going to bring your hands next to your leg and take a gentle fold. And not think about where your hands are going, but just think about getting some relief to the back side of your body. And be that into your hamstring or your lower back. Breathe into the space. You're then going to walk your hands back towards you to guide yourself up into seated. Your hands are going to frame your hips. And they're just going to do this gentle lift. So you're going to lift your hips up. Getting a release through the front side of your body, reaching that right hand up to sky. Then you'll lower yourself back down. You're going to extend your left leg out to a diagonal. Your right foot will come to the inside of your left. Rotate your heart to point towards your left toes. Your hands are just going to frame your left leg as you lean forward and take a gentle fold. And you might not go so far this morning. We're just early waking things up. And so when you start to feel things awakening, breathe into the space. So I was sort of reflecting on my practice and work yesterday. I found this beautiful quote that reminded me of coming into practice with you this morning, and reminded me what keeps me connected to my practice. That staying with breath helps me stay with my day. And so there are these moments where we're getting a lot of feedback in our system and our breath can start to shorten. But something that yoga has taught me is how to keep mindfully breathing into the space and not shorten with my breath or my intention. So I breathe into my difficult days like I breathe into difficult poses. I truly aim to take my practice off of my mat and into my life. You're going to walk your hands back toward you to come up into seated. Your hands will frame your hips. They're just going to lift up your hips and extend the left hand up to sky. Keep that stretch through the front side of your body. Extending out. And then guide yourself back down. You're going to send both your feet to the front of your mat. And you want your feet to be hip width distance this morning. We're taking a gentle fold. Your hands are going to frame your legs. And then you're just going to walk yourself forward and invite yourself into the space. And just breathe into what your body is telling you. Stay with your breath. Breathe into the space. And then you'll walk your hands back to frame your hips. You're then going to bring the soles of your feet to touch, opening up in your knees. And your heels are like 6 inches in front of your sit bones. If that feels too aggressive for you this morning, you can take a more gentle stance and just your heels can be like 18 inches in front of you. But I want you to bring the soles of your feet to touch and press the soles of your feet together. You're going to bring your hands to your ankles. And I want you to think about rooting down through your sit bones and extending crown of head to sky. Find this length through your torso. Your elbows are going to nestle to the inside of your knees. And you're going to take this gentle fold forward. Maybe pressing the elbows into the knees and getting the opening into the hips. But keeping your gaze forward on the floor to keep the length through the backside. So not rounding into the neck, but keeping the length and active release through the lower back, into the mid back, and into your shoulders. You'll then come back up into seated. Extend your legs forward. And then you're just going to rotate your legs behind you and come to lay down on your mat. You're just going to lay down onto your abdomen and bring your hands underneath your shoulders. So you're not having your forearms on your mat. It's just the palms of your hands, and you're hugging your elbows next to your side. You're just going to come into a rolling baby cobra. So on your inhale, you're going to lift up, hug the shoulder blades together. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift into a baby cobra. Exhale, lower. You're going to lift up into a tabletop. You're really just going to transition back into a child's pose. So big toes touch, knees to side edges of your mat, and reaching forward through your hands. So this is the one that I don't mirror with you, as you can't really hear me as I'm talking to my mat. You're going to walk both your hands over to the right side of your mat. And you're going to keep walking that left hand over. It might creep a little bit further than the right. But just sort of breathing through the left side of your body. Maybe actively pulling your left hip back and finding that space to breathe into. And then you're going to walk your hands back to center. And then we'll walk both your hands over to the left side of your mat. And you're just going to keep walking your right hand over till you start to ignite some feeling through the right side of your body. Maybe into your shoulder, in through the rib cage, your right hip. Breathe into that space. You're then going to walk your hands back into center and guide yourself into your table. We're going to be on table for a little bit. So if you want to take a blanket to place underneath your knees to give yourself some cushion, or double your mat over. I'll also show you a seated version of what we're going to do this morning. But I will start from table. We're going to come into a thread the needle. We're going to take a little movement in the thread the needle this morning. So on your inhale, you're going to extend your right hand up to sky. On your exhale, you're going to lower your right shoulder towards your right mat, reaching out through your right hand. Your inhale will guide your hand back up to sky. We're going to take 3 of these. Exhale, lower your right shoulder towards your mat, reaching out through the fingers. Inhale, reach your hand to sky. Exhale, lower down onto your right shoulder. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, lower your right shoulder down, and you're going to hold here. If you don't want to do this from table, you can also just hug your right arm across your body and hug it in with your left arm. So this would be your seated version of the pose. So find what speaks to you. Maybe getting some excitement to the outside of your right shoulder. You're going to ground into your left hand. Use your inhale to reach your right hand back up to sky. Lower your right hand to your mat. You're going to roll through the backside, shifting gaze towards your knees. Come into your cow, shifting tailbone up, soft gaze to front of space. Coming back into your neutral table. And we're just going to take that to the other side. I'm going to do this version from a seated thing, but we're all the same space. You're going to use your inhale to extend your left arm up to sky. Exhale, you lower your left shoulder down to your mat. Inhale, reach your left hand up to sky. Exhale, lower your left shoulder down to your mat. Inhale, reach your left arm up to sky. Exhale, lower your left shoulder down to your mat. Inhale, reach up, finding that length through the front side of your body. Exhale, lower your left shoulder towards your mat. And if you're seated, you'll just hug your left arm in with your right arm as you extend that arm across your body, getting a little release into your left shoulder. And just sort of seeing how the side of your body is feeling today. A few more breaths here. You'll release your left arm back up to sky on your inhale, and then lower your left hand to your mat. Whether in tabletop or seated, you'll take a cat-cow, rounding through the backside. Gentle lift of heart. Come back into your neutral table. And then we're all just going to meet standing at the front of our mat. So be from table or seated, you're just going to come to stand at the front of your mat. And I want you to stand with your feet hip width distance apart. You're going to lift up all 10 toes to shift your weight towards the soles of your feet and out of your toes. Starts to ignite your core to keep your balance. And then you'll lower your toes back to your mat. On your inhale, you're going to reach your hands to sky. Exhale, bring your hands into heart center. Inhale, reach your hands up. Exhale your hands into heart center. Inhale, reach your hands to sky. Exhale, bring your hands into heart center. Inhale, reach your hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out. Hands to your shins. Exhale, fold. You're going to plant your hands on your mat. Step your left foot to back of mat. We're coming into low lunge. So you're going to lower your left knee. You might take a blanket to place it under your left knee. And just roll the side of your mat over to get some cushion underneath your knee. And then reach your hands to sky. Low lunge. You're going to lean into your right knee. Gaze remains forward. You're going to lower your hands to your mat. Curl your left toes under to lift up your left knee. Bring your right hand to the inside of your right foot. You're going to walk yourself into a straddle fold facing the left side of your mat. Find some length through your backside. Exhale, fold. You're then going to walk your hands forward off of your mat and onto the floor, coming into this wide-legged downward dog. You might set your hands out slightly wider than your shoulders, but you want to keep your weight into your feet and out of your hands. And just start to find some length through the backside, lengthening tailbone towards sky. Bring the openness into your chest, engagement through your core. 2 more breaths here. And then you'll walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Walk your hands to the front of your mat, spinning your toes to the front of your mat. Then you're going to step your left foot to the front of your mat. Bring your hands to your shins and lengthen out. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach your hands to sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, length. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands in to step your right foot to back of mat. Coming into your low lunge. Lower your right knee. Make any preparations you need to get some cushion for your right knee. Be it bend the mat or place a blanket underneath your right knee. And then reach your hands to sky. And then you'll lean into your left knee. If it's not feeling good in your lower back, bring your hands to your left quad and gaze forward, leaning into your left knee and see if that gets more protection into your back. Keeping your navel hugged in towards spine will get that protection into your lower back as well. It keeps the muscles engaged. Sometimes when we're leaning forward, we kind of get this natural back bend in, and it can crunch into our lower back. You're then going to lower your hands to your mat. Lift up your left knee. Come into your straddle fold. You're going to bring your left hand to the inside of your left foot. Walk your hands down the right side of your mat. I'm just going to switch around so I'm facing forward. On your inhale, you're going to lengthen out. Exhale, fold. You're going to rotate your fingers to point towards the wall behind you and walk your hands closer to that wall. Breath in, breath out. You're then going to walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Walk your hands to the front of your mat, spinning your toes to the front of your mat. And then you'll step your right foot to the front of your mat. Bring your hands to your shins and lengthen out. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach your hands to sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, fold. Ground your hands on your mat. You're going to step back into your plank with knees lifted or lowered. You're going to guide yourself all the way to your abdomen. On your inhale, lift into a baby cobra. Exhale, lower. Lift up into a tabletop. Transition back into a child's pose. You're going to take 3 more breaths here. And then you're going to walk your hands back to your knees to come up into seated. And then you're just going to rotate your legs forward and lower down onto your mat, hugging your knees into your chest. And then you'll lower your feet to your mat. You're going to step your feet to the side edges of your mat. And then just do a little windshield wiper of your knees from side to side. And then bring your knees back up into center. You're going to toe heel your feet back into center. Bring your left ankle to your right knee and open up in the hip. Bring your left hand to the inside of your left quad and just do a gentle assist and get a little bit more mobility into your hip. But you're not exhausting it. So it's just the hand pressing into your hip is just awakening things. If you're like you're going past where your hip wants to open, like pull that back. This is a space just to start to find some rotation and movement into your body that is natural. So since we're just sort of waking things up this morning, we're just kind of finding where our space sits for today. And then you're going to lower the sole of your left foot over to the right. Your left knee is going to point up towards sky. So you can bring your right hand down to that left ankle and keeping the opening into the hip. Or you can just use the assistance of your knee. And then gaze can stay towards the right or gaze over towards the left. Whatever's calling to you. And if this all seems super difficult this morning, you can also just stack knee on top of knee and have your knees like slightly below the hips, in line with the hips, or above the hips. But find what expression speaks to you this morning. And then no matter where you have landed, we'll then stack knee on top of knee. Bring your knees back into center. Lower the soles of your feet to your mat. And then take your right ankle to your left knee, opening up in your hip. Using your right hand to guide that right hip just a little bit more open. Let's self-assist. Be gentle with yourself. And you usually find that space that's like, oh, that's where my body's beginning to sit right now. That's where I want to breathe into. So just breathe into that space. Find the opening. And you can stay right here, or you'll lower the sole of your right foot over to the left. And again, if this is not feeling like it's your jam this morning, you can just stack knee on top of knee. Truly find what is speaking to you. And I always like to say to people, just because you did it one day doesn't mean that's working for you another day. Like, really honor the moment. And breathe into it. Breathe into the space. And then you'll stack your right knee on top of your left. Bring your knees into center. Plug your knees into your chest. And you might stay in stillness or make some gentle rocks from side to side. A little movement to the back side. A little yogi back massage. Sort of rolling things out. And then you'll come back into stillness and lower your feet to your mat. I want you to take a deep breath in and exhale, let it out. You can send your arms out to a T. Deep breath in. And on your exhale, extend your right foot to the end of your mat. Deep breath in. Use your exhale to extend your left foot to the end of your mat. And then start to guide yourself into a space of rest. So you might keep the soles of your feet on your mat just to get that release into your lower back. Or if you have some pillows to place underneath your knees, you can do that as well. You might feel like, you know what, this morning I'm going to come to a gentle seat. But you really just want to find an expression that speaks to you this morning. Honoring your space. Once you find that space to rest into, deep breath in, guided breath out. And taking these next few moments for a stillness in Shavasana. You're going to start to bring some gentle movement back into your fingers and toes. Then take that good morning stretch. So extending your fingers towards the back of the space and your toes to the front of the space and feeling that full body release. And then when you're done, you'll hug your knees in towards your chest and roll over to your favorite side. And just taking a moment to embrace the space of this is what it feels like when I put myself first. And then going to guide yourself up and come into a comfortable seat. And maybe you sit on a blanket or on a pillow, but something that gives a little cushion to your sit bones. And just keep your gaze closed. As we shifted into Shavasana, start to hear the flutter of birds outside. The good morning soliloquy that I like to hear in the morning. It's such a welcome to the warmth of the spring that is here and coming. It's a little nature soundtrack that I like to bring with me in my day. So I want you to stay in this mindful space of breath. Really just sort of feel the travel of your breath going through every cell of your body. And I know I've said it a couple times this morning, but you truly were in my thoughts yesterday as I was journeying through my workday. And something that sort of was a part of conversation I had at my job was I was given this sort of intense project that I will honestly say, in a safe space, no one really wants. And they thought of me. And so as they were describing this project, my senior team just stopped and said, Courtney, you're just like, you're really calm in taking this on. And I was like, well, there's nowhere else to be about it. Like, I can't get all sort of into knots and angst and worry about something that hasn't happened. And then a colleague of mine just laughed and they're like, she truly is a yogi. And I was like, well, all I can do is be in the moment and breathe through it. And that's something that I truly honor from the practice that I have nourished in my life. Is I've learned to just breathe through the moment, even when times get tough. That if I stay with my breath, I find my clarity to start to navigate the space. So there might be something that's looming out there for you today that's more at the bottom of your to-do list because you just don't want to do it. We all have those projects. But I offer this to you this morning. I do want you to think of what is the background soundtrack to that moment that would bring you a little bit more joy. And while you might not have called it up for your practice this morning, I embrace you to call it into your practice at work. That sometimes by setting the stage of a fun playlist brings a little levity to the moment. And then reminding yourself to really just be in the space of the project. And not thinking about all the things that could go wrong or all the things that make it difficult, or all the negativity about it, but all the things that you can do something about the practice as we're sort of waking things up. Early in the morning, having these like stretches and these forward folds, there's a lot of excitement that's going on in my body. My hamstrings, my glutes, my knees are all sort of talking to me of like, hey, hold on there. And it's taught me to hold on, to breathe through it and let the process happen, to not rush into it, to not step away from it, but to be with it. So in that space that you need to be in today, there might be sort of angsting up and some discomfort. Come back into your breath. Come back into that vision that brings you joy. As we sort of journey through these spaces over the course of these weeks, you start to build a little bit of a toolkit of ways to calm your senses, to find some clarity in the space. And be it with music, be it with your favorite cup of coffee, being just mindful of being in the moment, you now start to develop this space of how to breathe into the spaces of difficult times, spaces of challenging times. So you can now pull from this toolkit to see how this works for you. And not just in this space this morning, but in your journey through your workday. So I want you to sit up just a little bit taller. Lift of heart, lift of mind, lift of gaze. Clear and intentional breath. I want you to place your right hand over your heart, feeling the rhythm of you, embracing the space of gratitude, and knowing that you have all that you need within you to guide you through your day. It's right here. And you spent the time to awaken and nourish the space this morning. Breathe into it. And I do like to join my left over my right, which gives me the warmth of reminder that we are here, we are together. There is a team around me to support me in my space. And I breathe into that. My legal warriors, I want you to bring your hands into heart center, pressing your thumb knuckles into that heart space, giving an extra little nudge this morning to lead with an open heart, open mind, open space. I bow my chin to my chest in gratitude of being in practice with you. I bow to you. Namaste.